In 2024, U.S. airlines mishandled 2.8 million bags, lost, delayed, damaged, stolen. And it is not random. The data tells a very specific story about which airports are responsible. These are the 12 worst. Pack a carry-on. Photograph your bag before you hand it over. Let's get into it. Number 12. Tampa International Airport, TPA, Florida. Tampa International consistently rates as one of the best airports in America for passenger experience. Clean terminals, easy navigation, strong on-time performance relative to its peers. It also ranks among Florida's worst airports for baggage complaints. And Florida, as you will see on this list, has a serious luggage problem. TSA property complaint data places Tampa in the upper tier of mishandling rates among the 60 busiest U.S. airports, with complaints running significantly above the national average per 100,000 passengers. The airport handles a high volume of leisure travelers, which means more checked bags per passenger than business-heavy airports, more oversized items, and more bags packed to the absolute limit of airline weight restrictions. Ground crews at Tampa are processing a tourist-heavy bag mix through a system that was not built for the volume it now handles. The airline most likely to lose your bag at Tampa is American Airlines, which operates a significant presence at the airport and recorded the worst mishandling rate of any major U.S. carrier in 2024 at 0.9 bags per 100. If you are flying through Tampa, pack your essentials in your carry-on, use a luggage tracker, and photograph your bag before you check it. The carousel at TPA is not guaranteed to be the end of your bag's journey. Number 11. Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, SEA, Washington Seattle-Tacoma, is the primary hub for Alaska Airlines, which recorded 0.64 mishandled bags per 100 enplaned in 2024, the third worst rate among major U.S. carriers, a figure made more significant by the airline's recent merger with Hawaiian Airlines, which has added complexity to an already stretched ground operation. SEA handles more than 50 million passengers a year and serves as a major gateway for Asia-Pacific routes, meaning a significant proportion of its bags are moving through international connections with multiple transfer points, custom screening, and tight transfer windows. Every additional transfer is an additional opportunity for a bag to end up on the wrong aircraft. The airport's layout, multiple concourses connected by a central terminal, means bags checked at one end of the building can travel significant distances before reaching an aircraft. United Airlines, which also has a hub presence at SEA, recorded 0.68 mishandled bags per 100 in 2024, the second worst rate among major carriers. Between Alaska and United running their two worst-performing baggage operations through the same airport, SEA has a compounding problem that the merger has not yet resolved and that the volume of international connections continues to make worse. Number 10. Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, California. Los Angeles International is the third worst airport in the United States for lost and damaged luggage, according to Forbes Advisor's analysis of TSA claims data, trailing only JFK and Miami. LAX handles more than 88 million passengers a year across 9 terminals operated by different airlines, a fragmented layout that means bags are frequently transferred between terminals on the ground, adding handling steps and increasing the window during which something can go wrong. The airport also records the highest number of Google searches for lost luggage of any major U.S. airport, which is a separate but telling data point. People are not just losing bags at LAX, they are desperately searching for them afterward. Ground crews at LAX work across a sprawling complex in which the distance from one terminal to another can require a vehicle journey, adding time pressure to every tight connection. American Airlines, United Airlines, and Delta all operate major hubs or significant presences at LAX, and all three recorded the highest mishandling rates among major U.S. carriers in 2024. If your bag is going to disappear at LAX, the odds are it ended up in the wrong terminal. Number 9. Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, DFW. Texas Dallas-Fort Worth is the 9th worst airport in the world for baggage mishandling, according to 2025 global rankings, which places it among a handful of U.S. airports that appear in global top 10 lists for luggage loss. It takes an average of 43 minutes to walk from your gate to baggage claim at DFW. the longest average walk time of any major U.S. airport, and nearly 4 times the average across the 55 airports studied. That 43-minute window is 43 minutes during which your bag is moving through a system of 5 terminals, multiple conveyor networks, and a ground operation handling tens of millions of bags per year. American Airlines runs its largest hub at DFW and recorded 0.9 mishandled bags per 100 in 2024, its worst performance in recent years and a rate that worsened year over year. Approximately 17,000 Google searches per month originate from passengers searching for lost luggage at DFW. The combination of the longest baggage claim walk time in the country, the worst performing major airline's biggest hub, and a terminal complex that requires bags to travel enormous distances to reach the right aircraft makes DFW one of the most structurally compromised airports on this list for keeping your bags safe. Number 8. Denver International Airport, DEN, Colorado. Denver International is the 4th worst airport in the world for baggage mishandling according to 2025 global data, which is a remarkable distinction for an airport that opened in 1995 and was supposed to represent the future of American aviation infrastructure. The airport was built with an automated baggage system, at the time the most advanced in the world, that famously failed during construction, delayed the airport's opening by 16 months, cost an additional $300 million to attempt to fix, and was ultimately abandoned entirely in 2005 after years of continued problems. The irony that Denver, the airport built around revolutionary baggage technology, now ranks among the worst airports in the world for baggage handling is not lost on anyone who remembers the original system. Today, Denver handles more than 82 million passengers a year as a major United Airlines hub, with connecting traffic that sends bags through multiple transfers in a complex where the distances between gates are significant. United's 0.68 mishandling rate per 100 bags in 2024 concentrates at its hubs, and Denver is among its largest. If your bag connects through Denver, it is traveling a long way through a large building with a long history of losing things. Number 7. Charlotte-Douglas International Airport, CLT, North Carolina. Charlotte-Douglas is the primary hub for American Airlines on the East Coast and the 6th busiest airport in the United States, funneling tens of millions of connecting passengers through a single terminal complex with one of the longest concourses in the world. American Airlines recorded 0.9 mishandled bags per 100 in 2024, the worst rate of any major U.S. carrier. And Charlotte is where the consequences of that rate concentrate most visibly. The airport's layout, a single long concourse with gates stretching so far that a full terminal walk takes 20 minutes, means bags are traveling the same enormous distances that passengers are running. Tight connections at Charlotte are one of the most common sources of mishandled baggage. When a plane lands with 15 minutes to the next departure, the bags rarely make the transfer even when the passenger does. TSA property complaint data places Charlotte tied with Minneapolis at 0.59 complaints per 100,000 passengers, among the worst in the country. If American Airlines is your carrier and Charlotte is your connection, you are flying the worst performing baggage airline through one of its most complex and time-pressured hubs. Number 6. Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, ATL. Georgia Atlanta is the busiest airport in the world, moving more than 100 million passengers a year through a facility that processes more bags daily than any other airport on Earth. With that volume comes a specific kind of risk, not a high rate of mishandling per bag, but an enormous absolute number of bags mishandled simply because the numbers are so large. Even a below-average mishandling rate at an airport processing this volume produces hundreds of thousands of affected passengers per year. The airport also records a 26-minute average walk from gate to baggage claim, long enough that theft and opportunistic bag interference become a meaningful additional risk layered on top of standard mishandling. Delta Airlines, the dominant carrier at Atlanta, recorded 0.49 mishandled bags per 100 in 2024. Studies of luggage theft rates consistently place Atlanta in the highest risk category among U.S. airports, alongside LAX and DFW, because the combination of passenger volume and walking distance creates the longest window of opportunity for bags to be interfered with between the aircraft and your hands. Number 5. Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport, FLL, Florida. Fort Lauderdale appears on the TSA complaint data with 1.68 property complaints per 100,000 passengers, the second highest rate of any major U.S. airport. It is also an airport that has appeared on this channel's worst airports list. where it earned a spot for chronic delays and overcrowded terminals that were never built for the volume being pushed through them. The same overcrowding that causes delays causes baggage problems, overwhelmed ground crews, tight turnarounds, and a facility running at capacity every day of the peak season. Fort Lauderdale is a budget carrier hub dominated by Spirit Airlines, Frontier, and Southwest, airlines that compete on low fares and high bag fees simultaneously, creating a passenger base that checks more bags per flight than premium carriers because checked bag fees are an unavoidable cost of traveling on these airlines. That volume of checked bags moving through an overwhelmed facility with budget-level ground handling produces the kind of TSA complaint rate that places FLL second in the country. 6 airports in Florida appear in the top 10 worst airports for baggage complaints nationally. Fort Lauderdale is the worst of the Florida airports that does not appear even higher on this list. Number 4. Palm Beach International Airport, PBI, Florida. Palm Beach International is a mid-size airport serving the affluent communities of South Florida's Palm Beach County, and it appears on this list for a reason that has nothing to do with volume or complexity. PBI records 1.71 TSA, property complaints per 100,000 passengers, the third highest rate in the country, at an airport that handles a fraction of the traffic of the other airports on this list. The explanation is the passenger base. Palm Beach travelers check expensive luggage containing valuable items, and the TSA complaint data measures not just mishandled bags, but property loss and damage claims, categories that are significantly more likely to be filed when the items inside the bag are worth filing a claim over. Studies consistently find that smaller airports serving wealthy leisure destinations generate disproportionate numbers of TSA property complaints relative to their size because the cost of the lost or damaged items justifies the claim paperwork. The implication for travelers using PBI is specific. If you are traveling through Palm Beach with anything valuable, whether in your checked bag or your carry-on going through screening. Number 3. Orlando International Airport, MCO, Florida. Orlando International tops the TSA property complaint data with 1.81 complaints per 100,000 passengers, 63% above the national average and the highest rate of any major U.S. airport in the country. The reason is the passenger base and the bags they bring. Orlando is the theme park capital of America, which means its passengers are overwhelmingly families with children, traveling with strollers, car seats, multiple checked bags, and luggage packed for extended stays rather than quick business trips. More bags per passenger, more oversized items, more bags packed to absolute weight limits, more opportunities for things to go wrong in a system that was designed for a different kind of traveler. 5 of the 10 worst airports for baggage complaints nationally are in Florida, and Orlando is the worst of them. The airport handles more than 50 million passengers a year, and the combination of high bag volume, family travel complexity, and the sheer operational scale of processing Disney, Universal, and SeaWorld visitors simultaneously creates a baggage environment. Number 2. John F. Kennedy International Airport, JFK, New York. JFK is the worst airport in the United States for lost and damaged luggage, according to Forbes Advisor's comprehensive analysis of TSA claims data. A score of 100 out of 100, the maximum possible, the worst of any airport studied. JFK handles more international passengers than any other U.S. airport, which means its bags are moving through customs, through international transfer systems, and across connections that span multiple airlines, multiple terminals, and multiple countries. Every international connection is a higher risk baggage event than a domestic transfer. More handling points, more screening, more opportunities for a bag to be routed incorrectly. The airport's 6 terminals, operated by different airlines with different ground procedures, add further complexity. A bag checked at Terminal 1 connecting to a flight in Terminal 4 must travel between 2 separately operated facilities, a journey that happens underground on a dedicated baggage system that is itself a source of misrouting. JFK records 1.72 TSA property complaints per 100,000 passengers, the 4th highest in the country, and its absolute numbers, driven by the sheer volume of international passengers and the complexity of international Connections. Make it the single worst airport in the United States for the traveler who wants to see their bag again. Number 1. Miami International Airport, MIA, Florida. Miami International Airport is the worst airport in the world for lost luggage. Not the worst in Florida, not the worst in the United States, the worst on the planet. According to 2025 global rankings that measured mishandling rates per thousand passengers and normalized for search volume, Miami loses more than 300 bags per million flights. When calculated per passenger, that equals roughly 5.5 mishandled bags for every 1,000 travelers, a rate that places it above every other major commercial airport on Earth in documented baggage mishandling. The reason is structural. Miami is the primary U.S. gateway to Latin America and the Caribbean, which means a higher proportion of its flights involve international connections than almost any other U.S. airport. International connections mean customs screening, multiple transfer points, tight windows, and bags moving between international and domestic systems, the highest risk baggage environment in commercial aviation. American Airlines, the worst performing major U.S. carrier for baggage in 2024, runs its Latin American hub at Miami. The combination of the worst airline's most complex international hub, the highest international connection rate of any U.S. airport, and a facility already running at capacity produces a mishandling rate that no other airport in the world currently matches. If you are flying through Miami with a checked bag, the global data says you are taking the single highest baggage risk available at any commercial airport anywhere on Earth. Pack your carry-on accordingly. So there you have it, 12 airports, 12 different reasons your bag ends up somewhere you are not. Some are victims of volume. Airports so large and so busy that even a low mishandling rate produces hundreds of thousands of affected passengers. Some are victims of complexity. International connections, multiple terminals, tight transfer windows, and bags that have to travel further than the passengers carrying them. Some are victims of their dominant airline's performance. American Airlines' 0.9 mishandling rate concentrating at Charlotte, Dallas, and Miami. And one airport combines all of these factors simultaneously and produces a mishandling rate that leads the entire world. And if you are flying through Miami with anything you cannot afford to lose, keep it with you. Thanks for watching.